It's one of the most important muscles in your body, and yet it's almost never trained. This muscle works non-stop, affecting your breathing, your digestion, your nervous system, and even your blood pressure. But hardly anyone knows how much tension in this very muscle can cause discomfort. In this video, I'll show you why your diaphragm is so important and why you should definitely strengthen it. And the fascinating thing is, in my opinion, a very central aspect of this muscle is still completely overlooked, even though it can be responsible for many complaints that you wouldn't even associate with it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about in this video. And I'll explain to you what this muscle really does, which underestimated symptoms it can cause, and what you can specifically do to bring it back into balance. Be sure to stay tuned until the end. Our diaphragm is a muscle that quietly and reliably works in the background all the time, but it plays an absolutely key role in your overall health. The diaphragm is a dome-shaped muscle that stretches across your body, between the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. Above are the lungs and the heart, and below are the stomach, liver, pancreas, and intestines. You could say the diaphragm is a kind of movable partition or a movable trampoline, an elastic membrane that separates the upper body from the lower body. And with every breath, it swings up and down just like a trampoline. Its diameter can be up to 30 centimeters, making it the largest breathing muscle in your body. At rest, it is only a few millimeters thick, usually between 3 and 5 millimeters. But when you inhale, it contracts powerfully, moves downward, and creates a negative pressure in your chest, which allows your lungs to fill with air. By the way, the lungs themselves don't have any muscles of their own. They are moved passively like an accordion that is opened and closed from the outside. The diaphragm takes on exactly this task. When you inhale, something truly fascinating happens in your body, and most of it occurs without you even noticing. The diaphragm contracts and moves downward toward the abdominal cavity. This creates a negative pressure in the chest cavity. And it's exactly this negative pressure that causes air from outside to flow into the lungs. Because air always follows a pressure gradient from outside to inside, specifically when the pressure inside is lower. And at the same time, the downward movement creates a slight overpressure in the abdominal cavity, and the organs are gently displaced. And that's the reason why the belly bulges out when you take a deep breath. When you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and rises again. The pressure in the chest cavity increases, and the air can passively escape. And the crucial thing is, you're not actively breathing with your lungs, but through the pressure differences created by your diaphragm. But breathing is just the beginning, because the diaphragm doesn't just move your lungs, it also moves all your internal organs. With every movement, it massages your liver, your stomach, your intestines, and your pancreas. And it promotes blood circulation, lymph drainage, or lymph flow in general, peristalsis, that is, bowel movement, and thus has a direct influence on your digestion. And if you suffer from bloating, a feeling of fullness or constipation, for example, don't just think about your diet, also think about your diaphragm. And now it often happens, an overlooked but crucial point. 3 vital passages actually run through the diaphragm. It's the esophagus, the inferior vena cava, and the aorta, which is your main artery. These 3 tubes pass through the diaphragm like tunnels through a mountain, and they are sensitive. That means when the diaphragm is tense, whether it's due to stress, sitting for too long, shallow breathing, which unfortunately many people do nowadays, poor posture, or even emotional strain, then it can put pressure exactly on these structures. What can happen? If the inferior vena cava is compressed, the return of blood to the heart is hindered. The result? Blood can back up and blood pressure increases. If the passage of the esophagus is narrowed, the so-called pylorus can no longer close properly. And this happens especially easily if you also eat fatty foods, drink a lot of alcohol, or consume sugar or sweets. So exactly when the stomach has to produce a lot of stomach acid. And this stomach acid then rises unhindered up into the esophagus because this stomach sphincter just can't function properly. The result is acid reflux, heartburn, stomach pressure, and also burning in the throat. And that's just because your diaphragm is shortened or tense. And there are other symptoms that many people don't associate with the diaphragm. Shortness of breath, a feeling of tightness in the chest, and the sensation of not being able to breathe deeply. Yes, even heart rhythm disturbances can occur. And because the diaphragm is located deep within the body, we often don't notice its tension directly there, but rather through its effects throughout the body. And the good news, you can do something about it here as well. And you can do it completely without medication. Because your diaphragm is, listen closely, actually trainable even into old age. You can stretch it, relax it, and strengthen it through deep abdominal breathing. For example, through conscious breathing, humming, singing, laughing, and targeted stretching exercises. By the way, you can find these in our Liebscher und Bracht podcast, and also in the matching YouTube video. And these exact exercises will help you make your diaphragm elastic and freely movable again, so that you can breathe better, digest more easily, and address issues like heartburn, stomach pressure, or maybe even high blood pressure in a holistic way. Because the diaphragm is more than just a muscle. It's a bridge between your breathing and your nervous system, between your posture and your digestion, between your inside and your outside. And maybe now is the right time to finally give this quiet, underrated hero in your body the attention it deserves. You're breathing anyway, but if you also engage your diaphragm while doing it, then you're definitely breathing in a healthier way. Do you know someone with heartburn, bloating, or breathing difficulties? Then share this video because maybe their diaphragm is behind it too.